Over the next 10 years, male body dysmorphia is set to overtake female body dysmorphia. In my weight loss journey and fitness journey, this is probably something that I've struggled with. Those feelings of insecurity, inadequacy, and that kind of crippling feeling that you always need to look better or be in better shape. And so I just wanted to share some of the ways in which I've overcome or I've been able to feel a bit more secure in my body and feel more content about the way that I look. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Neum, and over the last few years I've lost 50 kilograms in body weight. I've been working on myself, trying to get happier with a better mindset, become more positive, get fitter and healthier. And I just want to share some of the lessons that I've learned along the way with you. So if you like what you see, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because there's loads more to come. And leave a comment to say hi, because I really want to build a community out there that is all striving to get better every single day. But for now, let's get into it. Let's zoom out a little bit and talk about what body dysmorphia really is. It's a mental health condition where you spend a lot of time worrying about your appearance and the way that you look. You kind of feel insecure in your body, you don't feel content with it. You always feel like you're not enough. And in my experience, although I haven't ever kind of labeled it as a mental health condition, I think it did really impact my actions quite a lot. I'll give you an example. When I was really overweight, we used to go clubbing at university in first year, and I didn't really feel that secure in my body, I don't think. And so the club, even though it was really, really hot, every single time I'd wear this really big Slazenger jumper, and I'd just wear it to kind of cover up the fat that I wanted to hide in the club. And although I wouldn't say that I had an extreme mental health condition, the fact that I was not secure enough to wear a t-shirt in a really hot club and endure such a sweaty situation because of it means that I did feel really insecure in my body and not content with the way that I looked. But then I kind of decided, look, I want to lose weight and I want to get in better shape. And so I started going to the gym, eating a bit healthier, and I did lose a lot of weight. But as I got more into fitness, more into health, and my body started improving, I almost became more critical of my body because I was now aware of what the possibility potentially could be. And I became kind of obsessed with it. I was obsessed with trying to lose weight. I would drop calories really low. Wouldn't even go out with my friends sometimes for dinner because I really wanted to just make sure that I was eating the right foods, which probably weren't even the right foods at the time. It was quite an obsessive mentality to have just because I wasn't content or happy with the way that I look. And now I've lost a lot more weight and I'm in better shape and I'm still improving myself and trying to get in better shape. But it's not something that cripples me. And so in this video, I just want to share how I've kind of overcome that, become more content, become more secure, while still striving to be better at the same time. I think one of the reasons why body dysmorphia is becoming an increasingly abundant issue in modern society is because of social media. Our perception of people's reality is like looking at the tip of an iceberg. They'll put a photo on and that's all we see, and so we think that's their physique all the time, and the tip kind of represents their best self, and underneath the tip is what you don't see, which is when they haven't kind of had an edited photo after going to the gym with a pump and really good lighting. But we don't really realize that when we see this photo on Instagram or YouTube. We just see, oh, this guy's looking great, and that's what they always look like. But people don't always look like this. And so there's almost asymmetric information between the viewer of the content who thinks that this is what someone always looks like, and the producer of the content who knows that this is my best photo that I could possibly post online. But if you think about how much your body changes throughout the day, before you go for a poo, after you go for a poo, in the morning versus in the night, before eating versus after eating, before going to the gym and after the gym, our bodies are constantly kind of changing in terms of holding water, how much glycogen's in our muscles. And so that's going to impact the way that we look. And so it's important to realize that when we see a photo on social media, that this isn't the kind of 360-degree view of what someone looks like. And then I think with social media as well, the people that get popular on social media are the top 1% physiques out there who are genetically outliers. They're people that are naturally more attractive because that's how social media works. You click on things that you like, and if someone's looking really good, you probably will give it a click. And so you're not only seeing the tip of an iceberg, you're seeing the tip of an iceberg of the top 1% physiques in the world anyway. And so again, your perception of everyone else's reality is even more kind of warped in a way that you think everyone is looking a lot better. And that means your expectation of what you should look like rises so much because you think you should be looking like the top 1% physiques on Instagram, which is actually not what the reality of the world physique is. Naturally, as human beings, we compare ourselves to people around us. If you think about it from an evolutionary perspective, it's a good thing, right? As a tribe in a hunter-gatherer society, if someone else was doing something good, like, I don't know, getting berries, or really good at getting berries, it would be beneficial for us to learn from that and copy them so that we can get better at getting berries. But now, because we're being exposed to social media and this kind of overly perfectionistic physique that then becomes our expectation of how we should look, we're just making ourselves more and more unhappy because our reality is never gonna meet up to that expectation. If you think about, if you go to a restaurant and you know it's an expensive restaurant, it's gonna cost you about 200 to 300 pounds for the meal, and you get an 8 out of 10 steak or an 8 out of 10 meal, you're gonna be disappointed because you're expecting something 10 out of 10. Now you go to a restaurant where you're gonna pay £2 and you get an 8 out of 10 meal. Immediately you're gonna be happier with that meal, even though the level of the quality of the meal is the same. You're going to be happier because your expectation of what the meal would be like is lower. The happiness equals reality minus expectations, and it works the same with our physique. The only problem with the modern day and social media is that our expectation of how we should look is getting overly inflated by this top 1% physique image that we think that we should look like, because we're being constantly bombarded and exposed to it. And so because our reality of what we look like stays the same naturally, or gets a little bit better, but still can't match up to the heavily edited photos in good lighting with a pump, and ultimately we're going to create an unhappy reality for ourselves because we're never going to be able to meet that expectation that we're setting ourselves. So how do we really combat this? I think there's 3 ways that we can do this. Number 1 is having process orientated goals. What this means is not putting your self-worth on the way that you look or the scale weight or outcomes that ultimately you can't control, but actually attributing your happiness and setting goals in a way which are a little bit more process orientated. So if you go to the gym and you're 3 times in a week and your goal was to go to the gym 3 times in a week, then you give yourself a pat on the back, or you set the goal of getting 10,000 steps a day rather than trying to lose 5 kilos or have 6-pack abs, because ultimately you don't know when those abs are going to show. You don't know when those kilos on the scale are going to go down. So you have really no control over it. Whereas if you shift your goals to things that you can control and the inputs that you're putting in to achieve the desired outcome, then your happiness is then becoming something that you can control, and it means that it's a more foolproof approach to being happy with yourself and being content with the actions that you're taking, regardless of what the outcome is. Look, at the end of the day, one day you're going to get old and wrinkly, and we're all going to look a little bit worse at some point, because that's how age works. And so if you're constantly putting your self-worth, or we are constantly putting our self-worth on the way that we look, or the number on the scale, or whether we have 6-pack abs or not, then eventually at some point all that stuff's going to go away and we're just going to be unhappy because our self-worth is hanging in the fate of that. Whereas if you set the goal of being active, being healthy, eating whole food diet, getting your steps in, going to the gym, then regardless of whether you're 20 years old, 40-year-old, 60-year-old, 80-year-old, you are going to be happier anyway, because your happiness is in the fate of what you can control and your actions, rather than in the fate of something that is ultimately something you can't control. I think the second way to combat this is to lengthen the time horizon of your goals, and remember that you're playing an infinite game in fitness. Infinite games are games where the number of players change, where there's no agreed upon rules, and the conditions of the game change, and the aim of the game is to keep playing. Finite games are like football or chess, where there's agreed upon rules, there's a set number of players, and the aim of the game is to win and not lose. Fitness, business, relationships are all examples of infinite games that ultimately the aim is to keep playing, keep getting better, and keep improving. And so once you start viewing fitness in this way, that sense of urgency to look better immediately almost goes away, because you realize that you can do this forever. And so if you're just making small improvements on a daily basis, then that's enough to put you on a trajectory to eventually get the physique that you want. It doesn't matter if you get a 6-pack in 12 weeks or 18 weeks or a year or 2 years. To be honest, if you try and set the goal of getting a 6-pack in 12 weeks, I've tried to do it many times before, and I always go really low on calories. I always end up burning out, and I end up gaining the weight off. Whereas if you set the goal to be something that you can stick to forever, then it's going to be way more sustainable. You're going to be able to be way more consistent, and you're probably going to be more likely to achieve the goal anyway. It also means that you're going to be able to make decisions about changing calories or your nutrition or the way that you train based on what you really want at the time, or the conditions that you're living in at the time. For example, at the moment, yes, I know I need to lose fat to get the physique that I want eventually. But I've been trying to diet for the last few years, and I've always been in this kind of yo-yo cycle where I've lost weight and I've gained it back, and I've lost weight and gained it back. So I said, you know what, since I've got an unlimited time horizon, I'm going to actually increase my calories for a bit, build some strength, build some muscle, build my metabolism back, and then eventually when I come to lose fat, it's going to be a little bit easier for me because my metabolism is going to be higher. And so although I'm kind of delaying that fat loss a little bit, because I've got the unlimited time horizon perspective, I can do that, and I don't feel this sense of urgency to be in better shape, and I'm kind of happy and content with just making slow progress towards the goal that I have. I think the last mindset shift that really helps me be more content, feel more secure, be happier with the way that I look is celebrating the small wins along the way. So say if my goal is to lose weight, for example, and I have 30 kilos to lose, I get the same dopamine hit if I lose 1 kilo versus if I lose 30 kilos. And so I may as well, on the way to losing that 30 kilos, celebrate each 1 kilo loss, because I may as well enjoy the process and have more celebrations, because that's going to lead to a better journey. Every time that you celebrate as well, you're giving yourself evidence to continue what you're doing. And if you don't celebrate, then you're not building up that self-story as much as you could to the positive actions that you're taking to get to where you want to be. As you build this self-story, as you celebrate, as you give yourself a pat on the back for the good things that you're doing to get where you want to be, you're building up this stack of evidence of positive actions that you need to take in order to get where you want to be. And so you're almost making it easier for yourself, because your brain gets this signal of, oh yeah, I did something good today, let me do it again tomorrow because I want to celebrate again tomorrow. It's how kids learn how to walk. When kids start crawling, they get a positive reinforcement from their parents saying, well done for trying to walk. Once they walk, we cheer. And if they fall down, we say, oh no. And then they walk a little bit more, so we cheer. And then they fall down, and we're like, oh no. But every time we cheer when they walk a little bit more, their brain is like, oh, maybe I need to do this more and more, so I get more celebratory applauses from my family. So when you lose that 1 kilo on the way to the 30 kilo weight loss, just celebrate, because it's really a good way of showing to your brain that you're doing something good and you're on the way to something better. Ultimately, you need to enjoy the journey, because the goalposts are going to change at the end. When you've lost that 30 kilos, you're going to either want to build muscle or you're going to want to lose more weight. You may as well enjoy the process, because that's what it's all about. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. Why I think body dysmorphia is becoming worse in this world for men and women, and 3 mindset shifts that you can make to be a little bit more content, be more secure in your body, and feel a little bit happier with the way that you look. Those are the things that help me. Leave us in the comments any kind of mindset shifts or anything that you do to feel a bit happier about the way that you look, combat body dysmorphia or feeling insecure in your body. If you like this video, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, because there's loads more to come. Until next time, go get it, and peace.